They only have one.
Michael's mom gets rid of mice elsewhere in the house by vacuuming with a special attachment called HEPA bag. It traps the mice.
They work by having a series of screens and some fabric, some metal that will trap different sized particles to a very small part.
The bags work on other types of allergy-causing substances as well.
If you have a dander problem, if you have a pet in the house, HEPA filters can make a dramatic difference by sucking all that dander out of the air in the rooms.
Place the filters in the heat vents as well. Make sure to have those vents cleaned every year. Simple steps that made a major difference for the Dornishes.
He no longer coughs and hacks through the night.
And he can play all day long without sneezing or coughing.
Outside in my room, all over the house.
Now you can take these steps now. Buy special filters at any hardware store. Have those vents cleaned. Vacuum often and wash those sheets. You can also buy special non-allergy covers for beds and pillows to help keep them winter and spring allergy-free. Back to you, Chuck.
All right, thanks very much, Bruce. And now let's get the latest on the traffic this afternoon. Here's Steve Truitt. Steve?
Okay, Chuck, we got a signal alert in industry that's nothing to sneeze at. We'll look at it in just one sec. But in the meantime, let's go up to the 101 freeway, southbound or eastbound, depending on how you look at it. Traffic in both directions, actually, the 101 near Laurel Canyon, not too bad today. Signal alert in industry, 605 northbound past Rose Hills. A crash in the carpool and left 2 lanes. Backs you up all the way to Washington at North 605, just a mess right now. And downtown, 101 northbound before the 4 level. Watch for stalled cars smack dab in the middle of traffic. I'm Steve Truitt with Metro Traffic. Chuck and Michelle, back to you.
Steve, thank you. All right, coming up, the crash of Flight 261 in just 10 minutes. A moment of silence from Los Angeles to Seattle for those killed at sea. Our live team coverage is next.
Also, a man who is robbed, kidnapped, and then stuffed into a burning car. Who's behind the brutal attack, plus the dramatic rescue that saved his life.
Also, this.
I've become much more compassionate towards other people and myself.
Yes, we'll have Madonna right here, and she has a new attitude. The news at 4:30 starts next.
We brought it to you live, only on the Channel 4 News at 5. The discovery of the black box from Flight 261. As the investigation deepens, our reporters are following every part of the story. Complete live team coverage on the Channel 4 News.
Xingnian Kuai Le, I'm Ted Chen. Join me at the San Gabriel Valley Lunar New Year celebration, kicking off with a 1.5K fun run, the Parade of Cities, and a street festival, plus a Millennium Group wedding. This Saturday, call for information.
Now it's easy and profitable to be a vendor at the big one, the world-famous Rose Bowl Flea Market. Over tens of thousands of potential buyers the second Sunday of every month.
Call 323-560-7469, extension 11.
I can't go on like this. My mortgage and my bills are killing me.
All our credit cards got declined. Bills are piling up. What are we going to do?
I know. We need money now or we're going to lose everything.
Just dial 1-800-700-LEND.
We paid all of our bills by refinancing our home.
It was quick and easy.
Homeowners, take advantage of the lowest interest rate in decades. Even if you have credit problems, late payments, bankruptcy, foreclosures, are self-employed, or have been turned down by your bank, just dial 1-800-700-LEND.
Proposition 30 and 31 will cost you money. Did I get your attention? 30 and 31 will increase your insurance rates about $300 a year, and that's no small change. It rewards people who break the law and drive without insurance by giving them new rights to sue for huge punitive damages, and that means thousands more lawsuits. The lawyers could make millions. But don't take my word for it. Get the facts yourself. Do you have money to pay for higher insurance rates? I didn't think so.
Now this is furniture.
Come to Wix Furniture's big 36-hour store-wide sale. It starts tomorrow. Tremendous financing.
Listen to me. Go to Wix. Live from NBC4, the station working for you, Southern California's #1 news, the Channel 4 News.
You are looking live right now at the beach, the memorial up in Ventura County, a tribute to the victims of Flight 261. Very soon, people will be pausing at airports here and in other cities for a moment of silence for those victims. Hello once again, I'm Michelle Ruiz.
And I'm Chuck Henry. Right now, let us recap for you the latest information on the crash of Alaska Airlines Flight 261. Both of the so-called black boxes have now been recovered from the wreckage, the voice and data recorders that detail the chilling moments in the cockpit as those pilots struggled to regain control of their big jet as it began to twist and turn and then dove upside down into the sea. The search for wreckage off the Ventura coastline could last, we understand now, for several weeks. Meanwhile, relatives of the crash victims carried flowers as they boarded buses here in Los Angeles and then caravanned out to the crash site. And in just a few minutes from now, there will be a moment of silence at 4:36. That's the time that Flight 261 went down Monday, and we'll be looking live at the several sites where that moment of silence will be observed.
But first, a 28-year-old San Fernando Valley man is hospitalized today after he was rescued from the trunk of a car that had been set on fire. Channel 4's Tracy Savage is live in Northridge with more on this story. Tracy.
Well, Michelle, I can tell you that Devonshire detectives are right now searching for the suspects, 3 males. They're also searching for a motive. They have no idea why these suspects would take the victim, put him in the trunk of his own car, and then set that car on fire. 28-year-old Michael Almeida today is in critical condition, but he is just lucky to be alive. Lucky firefighters rescued him in time. It was 11 o'clock last night. Neighbors smelled the smoke and called for help. Firefighters weren't on the scene long when they discovered the burning car was not empty. A witness from the neighborhood says they heard a noise from inside the car's trunk.
They really went to work on that trunk with crowbars, and then they finally took a chainsaw to it. And I was surprised to find them pull out a person out of there.
Firefighters found Almeida in the trunk. He'd been beaten and was burned by the flames, but he was alive. Police say Almeida had been kidnapped by gunpoint earlier from his Granada Hills home on Chatsworth Boulevard. A neighbor there tells me the house Almeida was living in had been vacant until a day or two ago.
And all of a sudden, I seen cars parked over there. And it was all I come up with. Next thing I know, geez, everybody, the cops are knocking on my door. And what happened, you know? It really blew my mind.
All indications are that the individual, the victim, has no criminal history that we're aware of, so we don't know if that, we think that could have been a motive. It still could be a motive. We don't know that it might have been a drug deal gone bad or whatever. Absolutely no idea.
So the victim is expected to live, but we're told that he has some serious lung damage from smoke inhalation. Reporting live, I'm Tracy Savage. Back to you in the studio.
Thanks very much, Tracy. Actor Robert Downey Jr. is speaking out today about life in prison. Downey is now 6 months into a 3-year prison term at the state prison in Fresno. He's serving time for violating probation on a drug conviction, and he told People magazine that prison life is, quote, miserable. Downey hopes that his lawyers can get him out early. So far, he has passed all of his random drug tests.
Talk show host David Letterman could be back on the set a lot sooner than expected. As we've reported, Letterman underwent quintuple heart bypass surgery the day after he taped the show you see right here. That was just 2.5 weeks ago. Normal recovery time is 2 months. But staff members say he's already been back at the office and he's anxious to get back to work, possibly by Valentine's Day.
In just a few minutes from right now, it'll be time for that moment that we have been telling you about, where Alaska Airlines employees all around the country will be prepared and will, in fact, stop to observe a moment of silence in memory of their friends and colleagues who were on board Flight 261. Gordon Takamatsu is live right now. We're going to go to Gordon, who's out at Burbank Airport. Gordon?
Well, Chuck, of course, this has been an especially difficult week for all of the employees of Alaska Airlines nationwide. Losing an airplane, of course, is one thing, but losing 7 employees and 24 of their family and friends is quite another, of course. Look at any terminal with Alaska Airlines or its subsidiary Horizon Air. You may see floral displays, all brought here by well-wishers and even customers. Look on their lapels, and you will also see blue ribbons. The workers chose that color because it represents the ocean, a reference, of course, to the Pacific where Flight 261 went down. Here at Burbank Airport, we've seen many of the ribbons, some of them on SkyCap uniforms and those of airport police. Alaska is considered to be, by many, to be a very close-knit airline. This is a very strong sense of family there, if you will, between the employees. This tragedy has brought them even closer together. In fact, in a few minutes, they will be uniting in a moment of silence to remember Flight 261.
Well, I talked to Alaska Airlines both locally and in Seattle today, and corporate-wide, they're having their employees, if they want to take a minute to themselves, a moment of silence in memory of and in honor of all of the people who were involved in the accident that happened earlier this week.
Anything the airports are doing to sort of facilitate this or help them get through some of it?
Well, I think it's mostly on a personal level, not on an institutional level. So there's been a lot of individual comments back and forth and expressions of regret and hoping that everybody's able to hang in there like they need to get through it all.
Okay, that is the plan, and as we can see from where we are, that is underway right now. I'm going to step out of the shot so you can take a look at the employees. Chuck, back to you.
Thank you very much, Gordon. We'll just let you know that we have cameras not only at Burbank, at LAX, up at Port Hueneme, and Seattle as well, and other spots where they will all be observing that moment of silence. Bob Petty is over the crash site right now, and let's bring Bob in. Bob?
Well, Chuck, this is the actual crash site. The buoy markers are delineating the original debris field and impact site of Flight 261 from Monday afternoon. Ships out here, of course, it's a very somber sight, seeing the empty sea with just a few Navy and Coast Guard ships circling the area, making sure that commercial shipping stays out of the area. We've looked at the sonar, side-looking sonar towed ship, and also the Coast Guard and Navy ships that have the remotely operated vehicles on board that they've used to retrieve those black boxes. But the real sight is just the difference between the frenzy of activity to try to rescue the people on Monday afternoon and now the empty sea with just the lonely buoys floating on top of the water just off of Anacapa Island, representing those people who rest now beneath the surface of the water. This is Bob Petty, live in News Chopper 4. Back to you in the studio.
All right, Captain Bob, thank you very much.
I think we're going to go out to Gordon back at Burbank Airport right now. Gordon?
As you can see from this picture, we've got about 2, possibly 3 dozen employees, maybe 30 or so. They've all joined hands in a circle here on the tarmac, right where the planes come up to the terminal.
You know, Gordon, I think what we ought to do here, and as we count down to about 15 seconds, we will also observe that moment of silence as we switch to the various locations up and down the coast here as these Alaska Airlines employees honor and remember their colleagues. A moment of silence to, boy, that's tough. That really is. Yeah. You suddenly realize just how that affects you, because you feel so bad
You do. You're absolutely right.
for those poor people.
You do.
It really is.
And you were out there and you saw the devotion and love.
Yeah, it's, you know, when
people were expressing for people they don't even know. It is tough. You're right. And when you hear of the families and the children that were on that side, it is very tough.
What you feel so bad for is the fact that those poor people on that plane, for about 6 minutes, had to go through that awful hell.
And what they were thinking going down. It's very, very tough, Chuck. And you're not the only one who's affected by this. And you obviously were out there. You talked to the people who were near the crash site, who've been going there all week and paying tribute to the victims of this Alaska Airlines crash, and it's very tough. And even as journalists, we're affected.
Yeah, it does. It really does. You cover a lot of stories, you see a lot of things, and then something like this happens so close to your home, and it really you get to. I apologize.
No, you're expressing what so many people have felt. And we'll be right back.
Why do you subscribe to the Sunday Los Angeles Times?
Well, weekdays for us are just nuts.
No kidding. Traffic jams, appointments.
Running the kids all over.
Now, Sunday, that's another story.
Sunday's our day. I make the coffee. We don't go anywhere.
Except to the front door to get the Los Angeles Times.
On Sundays, I don't want to go out to pick up the paper. I want it delivered.
Part of the Sunday experience is reading through the calendar section first.
I start with the front section and onto the calendar for all the fun. Some Sundays, calendar is the only section I read, and it's still worth having it delivered.
Who wants to run another errand on Sunday?
Sunday's about quality time with my family and just enough alone time to enjoy the calendar section.
Here's to quality time. Now you can have the Sunday Los Angeles Times featuring our award-winning Sunday calendar delivered right to your home at a price you'll love. Only $1 a week. That's 50% off. 12 free Sundays for the world-class newspaper in Southern California. Don't miss out on this special offer of home delivery of the Sunday Los Angeles Times. Call now and let us entertain you.
Buy Factory Direct. The Jewelry Exchange in Tustin has expanded and now has the largest factory showroom in the U.S. We guarantee our jewelry to be the lowest price. Compare Tiffany's 1-carat invisible bands for over $5,000 with the Jewelry Exchange's GVS quality for $1,600. 1-carat pendants are $249, 2-carat tennis bracelets $349, and 1-carat studs $399. We carry thousands of rings, bracelets, and pendants. We guarantee all our jewelry to appraise for at least double. The Jewelry Exchange in Tustin.
NBC Friday begins with the first of 4 all-new episodes of Providence.
If you're not busy tonight.
And the final step that leads to a wedding. Then on an all-new Dateline, 10 young children abandoned by their mother. Could these siblings find a way to stay a family? An amazing story of sacrifice. And how far would wives go to get their husbands out of jail?
Using sex to influence the justice system?
Angie Everhart guest stars on an all-new Law & Order Special Victims Unit right after Providence and Dateline. NBC Friday.
I really do apologize.
Chuck, I don't think there's any reason to apologize.
Well,
you expressed what so many people have felt, and we're people, and we have those feelings too. And you were just
well, that's very kind of you. Jim has a much better story to tell us about now.
Yes, about birth, as a matter of fact. It's about a sheriff's deputy. Just after 4 this morning, the LA County Sheriff's deputy got a call. A mother was in labor at home, and it was not going well.
The call came to the right man. When he arrived at the home on Compton Boulevard in East Rancho Dominguez, the mother was having trouble with only the baby's head delivered, no more.
I didn't see the baby moving or anything. The eyes weren't open, and pretty much asked him how long it had been like that.
He was told 3 to 4 minutes. He had to move fast and went into action.
She pushed one time and didn't get much, and I told her to push again. She's got to push. And she pushed the second time, and the baby delivered.
By this time, the paramedics had arrived, and mom and baby were on the way to the hospital, where both are doing fine. The little one weighed in at 7 pounds and is 19 inches long. Meanwhile, Deputy Cowatch is getting to be an old hand at this.
This is the third child that I delivered. So I delivered 2 as a paramedic before I joined the department, the sheriff's department, and this is my first one as a deputy.
And, of course, with certainly many more to come, given that deputy's track record with children.
Yes, my
Yes.
goodness.
Yeah, he's an old hand at it now, though. He can do that. He can do that.
I can see that. That's right. Well, Fred has just raced here onto the set. He's ready to go. Hi there, Fred.
Yes, I am
Almost
ready.
to go.
Those are 2 days in a row that
I
that
know.
caught me off guard.
A little Olympic feat here.
That's right. Here we go. Way back when Bing Crosby held his legendary clam bake at the Pebble Beach Golf Tournament. Was he baking those clams in driving winds and rains that didn't allow anybody to cook outside, let alone play a round of golf? Well, that's virtually the way it is now on the Monterey Peninsula. It seems every year the Pebble Beach Celebrity Pro-Am is dominated by Mother Nature, and she was back again today. Here's the scene this afternoon at Pebble Beach. Winds gusting up to 35 miles an hour, rain blowing off the water and drenching the 3 courses where the tournament is played. The players could barely get in a dozen holes, and most didn't complete the front 9 before the first round was called for good around 2 o'clock. David Duvall, the leader at 4 under through 10 holes. That's not David. The first round will continue tomorrow, but the conditions are expected to blow everyone away again. It is already anticipated the tournament will not be finished before Monday. This weekend at the Pomona Fairplex, the National Hot Rod Association drag racing season begins with the Winter Nationals. Now, don't forget your earplugs because it'll be loud out there. Also, it'll be an opportunity for one racing team to stand out above and beyond the men. Kristen Powell and Helen Hoffman are a unique team in the sport of drag racing. Powell is a 20-year-old college student who's only been competing a few years, while Helen is the wife of veteran driver Al Hoffman and has been in the business for 12 years. Together, they form a racing team with a female perspective.
When Helen Hoffman asked me to drive her car, because she owns the team, I went, oh, this is so cool. And not only because she's a female, just because she's a very well-known racer. She's been around a long time.
Helen and Kristen know this is a male-dominated sport, and even though women have made big strides, there's still a lot more that can be done.
Women are still, I think, in this industry, kind of the downtrodden sex, and we would like, Kristen and I would like to make a point that, you know, females can do it, and I've been out here doing it for 12 years.
You know, it's come a long way, but there's still attitudes that need to be adjusted. I think it's just one of those things that's played under the table, and people don't come right out and say, you know, you're a girl, I'm going to beat you. But there's just little things you can notice.
This is the first year of the Helen Hoffman race team, which includes 4 women. Helen says that she and Kristen have a lot to prove.
A lot of women stand at the back of the pit area and go, wow, you know, I'd like to do that, I'd like to do that. And the guy goes around, you're a woman, you can't do anything. Well, that's something we're going to eliminate this year and prove that we can compete against the men and beat them.
All right, we'll see, so keep an eye on them this weekend.
All right, thank you, Brad.
Okay.
Let's go up now to the newsroom to Paul with the look ahead at 5. Paul.
Okay, Michelle, thank you. New details on the crash of Flight 261 is now minutes away. The NTSB is about to hold a briefing in Port Hueneme. We will have that for you live as it happens right here tonight at 5 o'clock. In the meantime, a caravan of buses carry family members to the beach for a final goodbye, and an extraordinary story of lost and found involving a ring recovered from the wreckage we first told you about on Tuesday. Live team coverage coming up right here at 5 o'clock. Also, a terrible disaster in a crowded store when a floor suddenly somehow gives way. We'll see how it happened right here at 5. Plus, our special report, Getting Out Alive. There are some plane crashes that are survivable. Conan Nolan will show you what you need to know live from a Connecticut training facility tonight right here at 5 o'clock and at 6. All that plus a consumer alert about the candles you burn. It's a warning about what they may be releasing into the air when they burn, the air you breathe. We'll talk about that right here tonight at 5 o'clock when I join Colleen. We'll see you then. Chuck and Michelle, back to you.
All right, thanks very much, Paul. Now, would you wash your hair with the same stuff that you use to clean your garbage? Probably not on purpose, but today some experts say that you may be doing just that without even knowing about it. Today, experts say that many of the popular shampoos contain a chemical that's called sodium sulfate, which is also found in industrial cleaners and engine degreasers. Potential problem here, some researchers say that it could be dangerous, a dangerous irritant, or perhaps even worse. We talked to the FDA today, and they said that it has found no evidence of danger in human shampoo, however.
The next time you're out shopping, take a good look at the customers around you. One of them may be on a secret mission. They're called mystery shoppers, and Kelly Mack is here with an insider's look at how they can help you get more for your money. Kelly.
Michelle, we took a hidden camera to several popular coffee houses and watched one of these mystery shoppers at work. You might call it a dream job, being paid to shop and give your honest opinion about customer service. But this is a serious business for both the shoppers and the companies that hire them.
What's the difference between the cappuccino and the latte again?
Sounds like a simple question, and it should be an easy answer for any coffee house employee. But we've probably all encountered salespeople who didn't have the right answers.
How's the person?
You like soda, I don't like soy.
He doesn't like soy. Wrong answer, says professional shopper Verna Ortega. Her advice for this employee?
Just a little bit more courteous towards the customer. Also, being up on his product. And then maybe take some help on the beans.
Ortega asks a lot of questions to test employees' product knowledge. This is where customer service can work well or fail miserably. Unfortunately, this employee tends to look distracted when questioned, and he downplays some products, making the shopper feel her taste is less sophisticated than his.
And then we have the light note, which is, well, you know, it's a coffee finger times something water.
Okay.
That's pretty much how to describe that one.
Finally, he suggests the coffee bean Ortega agrees to buy, but after minutes of waiting, he tells her they've sold out. Ortega is left disappointed and unsatisfied, feelings that may cause many shoppers to avoid a repeat visit, or worse yet, tell all their friends not to go there either.
I have a question.
Did you?
Wow, our budget's right here. We make it. Some of the candies we dip and some of them we do buy. Sugar-free we buy.
Okay. Ortega's next stop yields a more pleasant experience.
He's really happy. He's very happy. And in regards to everything we asked him about, he had to, acknowledge that he should.
Ortega says the key for employees is to share their knowledge in a friendly way, never making the customer feel ignorant, as this woman did regarding the health benefits of green tea.
They had all this big news, and you didn't read it in the paper, and they made a lot of fuss about it, like black chairs. Have you heard about it?
No, and this may be the last she'll hear from any customer who gets that kind of scolding.
Now, most of us probably don't take the time to complain about poor customer service. We just move on and don't come back. By hiring these mystery shoppers, many companies are getting the information they need to make improvements before they lose your business to a more courteous competitor. Michelle and Chuck, back to you.
All right. Now that we know that Kelly's got that camera, we're going to have to be very, very careful around Kelly. Coming up tomorrow, Kelly Mack is going to examine the problem of soap in the dishwasher. We're going to find out if your soap really stacks up and meets the test. That's tomorrow at 4.
Okay, let's go to Steve Truitt for a check on traffic. Steve.
Okay, Michelle, thanks. Let's take a look outside our traffic window, see what's going on the 101 freeway. This is actually the Santa Ana freeway, if you can believe that, the 101 portion. We're looking at the southbound side heading toward us. Leaving downtown at Vignes Street, traffic not too bad. It is moving. We like to see that, and no accidents so far on the 101. However, Sig Alert and Industry, 605 northbound past Rose Hills, a crash in the carpool and left 2 lanes, now backing everything up to the 105. You want to take the 710 this afternoon. It's a great alternate. And in Alhambra, on the 10 freeway eastbound before Atlantic Boulevard, a non-injury crash is slowing your 10 freeway eastbound trek down today. You want to take the 60 because that's also a good alternate. I'm Steve Truitt with Metro Traffic. Michelle and Chuck, back to you.
All right, thanks very much, Steve. Coming up next, news from Hollywood, and we're one-on-one with Madonna talking about her new movie and becoming a mother again.
Also ahead, red hot Ricky Martin on the price his love life has paid because of his success. You'll hear from him.
Also still ahead, it's the breakthrough drug that helps reduce one annoying symptom of the common cold. We've got the medical marvel. It's next on the news at 5 o'clock.
On the next Access Hollywood, Ricky Martin shares intimate details about his love affair. Plus, Leonardo DiCaprio's big date. And Britney Spears spills the truth about her and Prince William. Next Access Hollywood.
Tonight at 7:30.
Today at 5 and 6 on the Channel 4 News, Alaska Flight 261 crashed into the ocean off the Southland. What does it take to survive a crash into water? Channel 4's Conan Nolan shows you what to do. Watch Getting Out Alive today at 5 and 6, only on the Channel 4 News.
Prepare yourself for one legend live on stage. Prepare yourself for Buddy, the Buddy Holly story. Go backstage, on stage, and live on tour with the Big Bopper, Richie Valens, and the immortal, hip-twisting, earth-shaking Buddy Holly. Buddy Holly. Get a ticket, get a seat, dance in the aisles, and rave on to Buddy, the Buddy Holly story.
Now through Sunday at the Pantages Theater. Reserved seats are available now. Another Nederlander event.
California students packed tighter and tighter in trailers and hallways. Schools so overcrowded, students eat lunch in shifts, starting at 10:30 a.m. Prop 26 lets us invest in our schools to ease overcrowding and improve learning. And Prop 26 requires that money be spent building new schools or fixing dilapidated ones, not on administration. So our children have room to learn. Yes, on 26.
Some things are easier to fix than others. For millions of Americans, arthritis is more than a mere inconvenience. It's a group of serious, chronic diseases that may mean a lifetime of challenges. By donating your auto, boat, personal, or real property to the Arthritis Foundation, you support research and programs that help people take control of their arthritis. And you may receive an income tax deduction. So call today. Call 888-824-7440.
So, as of today, there is a new king of primetime TV game shows, and his parents got to see this newest millionaire win.
You are the TV game show king.
There he is. Many of you got to see Raheem win over $1 million on Channel 4 last night during 21. His parents in Texas watched their 27-year-old Harvard Law School student win big.
I thought he would win big, and he did.
You never had any doubt?
No doubt.
Nice piece of change there. Raheem goes home with $1,120,000. He says he plans to pay off a few loans and maybe even buy a car.
Is that all? It was a splashy premiere night for Leonardo DiCaprio for his next movie, The Beach. Fans and photographers crowded around for a glimpse of the star at Man's Chinese Theater. DiCaprio plays a backpacker who finds a secret island paradise, a paradise that the inhabitants don't want to be found. There's a lot of buzz about this movie because it's DiCaprio's first movie since Titanic. The movie opens February 11th.
Will the sitcom Friends be around for one more season? Well, one of the show's stars says yes, indeed. Courtney Cox Arquette tells Britain's TV Times that everyone is happy on board for another season.
And that's Stevie, and that's Joey.
Hey, how you doing?
Don't!
Actress Reese Witherspoon will begin a guest starring role on Friends tonight. She plays Jennifer's sister. Witherspoon says her character is no angel.
I play this really sort of superficial, vacuous girl.
And we're going to have a little sibling rivalry on that show, according to Reese. And, of course, Friends tonight right here on NBC4.
Latin pop star Ricky Martin says the glare of the spotlight has taken its toll on his love life. Martin tells tonight's Access Hollywood why he and longtime girlfriend Rebecca de Alba split.
Rebecca and I, we decided to be very good friends. We went together to the Grammys last year, and after that, it's been crazy for me, and it's been crazy for her when it comes to intimacy.
The Latin superstar reveals much more about his love life and dealing with success during a series of interviews with Access Hollywood that airs tonight at 7:30 right here on Channel 4.
Madonna has a new movie and a new song and a new outlook on life and motherhood, and she's talking about all three in preparation for the opening of The Next Best Thing.
Hello?
He's leaving me.
Don't stop him. Just let him go, Abby.
And then what?
Rush over to my house and tell me all about it.
Abby and Robert are the best of friends. The only problem is that Robert, who's played by Rupert Everett, is gay. So when Abby, portrayed by Madonna, is dumped by her umpteenth boyfriend, the two grow even closer until one night when wine gets the best of them.
I have something to tell you.
Is it bigger than the big box?
Not yet.
The two then have a child together, and that's the premise for The Next Best Thing, which is more than a motherhood role to Madonna.
It was more like just the whole concept that families come in all shapes and sizes, and that there are, the ideal that we have of like the traditional nuclear family is pretty much an ideal and not actually a reality.
Madonna says the movie has a compassionate theme to teach, including one that this material girl mom is already learning.
I used to be much tougher on myself. I think since I've had my daughter, I've become much more compassionate towards other people and myself.
Maybe that compassion is a part of Madonna's desire now to have a sibling to play with her little daughter.
I just think that it would be good if she had a brother or sister.
Madonna won't say when she plans to have another child or who she might want the father to be. The Next Best Thing opens next month on the 3rd, and that wraps it up for us in the news at 4 o'clock. Michelle?
Now stay tuned for the latest live local news at 5 with Colleen Williams and Paul Moyer. Paul.
All right, Michelle and Chuck, again, thanks a lot. Straight ahead on the Channel 4 News at 5 tonight. Families of the victims of Flight 261 go to the beach to say final goodbye to loved ones. Meantime, an extraordinary story of lost and found and new details about the crash. Live team coverage coming up. Then a local woman facing murder charges for killing her husband. Police say the murder weapon was her own car. We're live with that. Plus, our special report tonight, Getting Out Alive, will show you specific things that you can do to survive certain plane crashes, and we'll show you live. The News at 5 begins right now.
Live from NBC4, the station working for you. Paul Moyer, Colleen Williams, Fritz Coleman AccuWeather, Fred Rogan Sports. Southern California's #1 news, the Channel 4 News at 5.
Pulled from the ocean just hours ago, the second black box is on its way to Washington tonight. Investigators are now hoping very much the voice and data recorders will help solve the mystery of what it was that happened in the final moments of Flight 261 before it went down. Also tonight, a somber mood out at Port Hueneme, where the victims' families have gathered at sea, mourning, praying, saying final goodbyes to loved ones lost in the crash of Alaska Air Flight 261. Good evening, everybody. It's now 5 o'clock, and I'm Paul Moyer.
And I'm Colleen Williams.
So we do begin at 5 tonight with new information about those final moments on board Flight 261. We do know tonight the pilots apparently struggled to straighten out that jetliner as it tumbled, it rolled, and even turned upside down before it nosedived into the Pacific. Tragically, those terrifying final moments lasted several minutes, minutes that nobody can truly imagine. Our team coverage continues tonight. Patrick Healy live in Port Hueneme, where the NTSB is about to release new information. And Ted Chen, also in Port Hueneme tonight, to show us how the family spent the day trying as best they could in their own way to deal with this tragedy. We begin tonight with Patrick.
Paul, Colleen, in the next few minutes here, we're expecting an update from National Transportation Safety Board member John Hammerschmidt. But already it has become abundantly clear the importance of locating and recovering the tail section of the downed jetliner, the tail section with that suspect stabilizer, the problem diagnosed by the cockpit crew before the aircraft went down. Now, right now, vessels out on the ocean with submersible craft are doing what they call mapping the debris field. That is the foundation for the later salvation recovery effort, and they will be using that information together with what they find out from the flight data recorder, other information to guide the recovery process. Thanks to the efforts of the vessel Kelly Schwest and its underwater rover, investigators now have both elements of their first priority. Both the flight recorders, known as black boxes, though they're actually orange. First, the cockpit voice recorder, and now today, the data recorder.
And that will enable us to more or less focus on certain parts of the wreckage in terms of what to retrieve.
Finding the data recorder was complicated by the fact impact had separated it from its locator pinger.
What we did was we marked the pinger's location and began to move out in a 200-foot area and set it into quadrants. And it's literally an eyes search. And it took a while, took most of the night.
Captain Lebrecht said both the boxes were on the sandy ocean floor outside the aircraft wreckage. The focus of the search vessels now is to use sonar and video to map the debris field as foundation for recovery. Meantime, the voice recorder has already been played back by NTSB staffers at Washington, D.C. headquarters. Chairman Jim Hall said it covers 30 minutes, and right at the very beginning, the cockpit crew is already discussing what they diagnosed as a jammed stabilizer, forcing the jetliner's nose down. They could rein it in, but only for a time.
The crew continued troubleshooting and preparing the airplane for landing. Then control was suddenly lost. The crew made references to being inverted that are consistent with the witness statements.
Perhaps even more disturbing, witnesses also said the jetliner remained intact as it tumbled from the sky in a series of wild gyrations. This would have generated strong G-forces on the helpless passengers inside, possibly enough for them to lose consciousness before the horrible impact. Back live at the Naval Center, where we are awaiting the arrival of National Transportation Safety Board member John Hammerschmidt. Many questions we hope can be answered today, among them the condition of that tail section, how bad it is, how much help it may be when they finally are able to get it to the surface. Reporting live from Port Hueneme, Patrick Healy, Channel 4 News. Paul, Colleen.
Patrick, in any of these briefings, has the NTSB mentioned a time frame when we might have transcripts on the voice recorder they have in Washington now?
Colleen, that information will be coming out of Washington, but the fact that the recorder was in very good condition, they expect to be able to expedite that.
Okay, Patrick Healy, again, we'll go back to Patrick as soon as the NTSB arrives on scene there. In the meantime, it must have been a horribly painful day for the families of the Alaska Air crash victims as they caravan to the crash site. For many of them, their first chance to see it firsthand. One of the amazing stories coming from this site is the story of a ring that belonged to one of the crash victims and to the men who found it. For that part of the story, we go to Channel 4's Ted Chen, who is on the beach at Port Hueneme. Ted?
Colleen, all day today, people continue to bring flowers and balloons and other items to this memorial site. And most of these people didn't know the crash victims, but still this tragedy has touched them personally. And as you mentioned, we want to update you on how this tragedy touched the lives of two local fishermen who found a personal item of one of the crash victims and perhaps a message as well. Scott Jarvis and Kevin Marcus say they now know the man who owned this ring we first showed you on Channel 4 Tuesday. They say the unique Masonic ring belongs to Bob Williams, one of the passengers who perished on Alaska Flight 261. And in an amazing coincidence, Williams and Marcus's father are from the same small town, Posebo, Washington, population about 6,500.
The entire coincidence blew us away. First of all, the ring should never got on the boat in the first place. The gold should have sunk and be at the bottom of the ocean right now. How it got on the boat is just a miracle.
It was Marcus who found the ring while piloting Jarvis's boat and helping in the search and rescue effort. Today, relatives and loved ones of the 88 people on board gathered onto buses and vans and were taken to the Naval Air Station in Point Mugu, where they stood on the beach not far from where the plane went down. It was the beginning of a journey to reach closure.
And in that setting, they will be able to honor and cherish their loved ones that they lost.
And these two men may have helped one family find its closure. It was Jarvis who traced the ring to Bob Williams and who spoke with his daughter last night.
We had a long conversation, a very sweet, touching conversation about how she had talked to her dad a couple weeks ago, and they had decided that if one of them should die, that the other should send some signal to the other. And we both basically started crying. It was very sad, and she just assumed this was his way of telling her he's fine. It's basically it was like he just reached down from heaven and put this ring on my boat because he knew it would find her.
Some of the relatives came here to the memorial site just a little while ago. They spent a little bit of time here and then left. We understand that a public memorial service will be held at Port Hueneme Pier from 5 to 8. Reporting live from Port Hueneme, Ted Chen, Channel 4 News. Paul, calling back to you.
Yeah, Ted, on that same point, about a half an hour ago, something happened very, very extraordinary. Maybe you saw it during the 4 o'clock. 30 minutes ago, a very poignant and emotional moment of silence was observed for the victims of Alaska Flight 261. Dozens of Alaska Airlines employees held hands in a silent circle at the airport in Burbank at 4:36 p.m. That is the time Flight 261 went down on Monday. They were joined by other mourners. Workers at Alaska Airlines and its sister carrier, Horizon Airlines System, took part in that moment of silence at exactly 4:36 p.m.
As we've heard since day one, the pilots of Flight 261 reported problems with the plane's horizontal stabilizer. Tonight, a report that this isn't the first time an Alaska Airlines jet had a similar problem. The horizontal stabilizer is actually a device on the tail that keeps the plane flying level. It controls the pitch. The Arizona Republic newspaper reports that an Alaska Airlines jet made an emergency landing in Alaska last year because of a stabilizer problem. That was an MD-82. The one that crashed was an MD-83, and the pilot on the MD-82 apparently had trouble getting the plane's nose to rise during takeoff. That plane was carrying 138 people. No one was hurt in the incident. Stay with Channel 4 News for continuing coverage of the crash of Alaska Airlines Flight 261. We have reporters all over the Southland with families. Also at the NTSB Command Center, we're waiting for a briefing from them momentarily. When any new information becomes available, you can count on Channel 4 News to bring it to you first. Paul.
We'll go to that briefing just as soon as we get it. And one of the questions they're going to talk about is, was there problems with the airplane on the way down to Puerto Vallarta before the ill-fated flight? When it happens, we'll bring it right to you. In the meantime, tonight, politics, the race for the White House is claiming another casualty just 2 days after the New Hampshire primary. Gary Bauer is out, reportedly getting ready to call it quits. Bauer's campaign has been struggling from the very beginning. The influential Republican conservative raised only about $7 million, far short of the money chest of other contenders. And on Monday in New Hampshire, he came in dead last, got about 1% of the vote. The day before, Bauer took a tumble right there off the stage during a pancake flipping contest. Fortunately, he was okay. I don't know what happened to the pancake. Gary Bauer is scheduled for the news conference for tomorrow morning. And again, we say we think he's going to drop out.
On the Democratic side, Vice President Al Gore has wrapped up a whirlwind campaign swing through the Southland. Delegate-rich California is a crucial state in the primaries. Channel 4's Doug Kriegel is here now with more on the Gore campaign. Doug.
Colleen, Vice President Gore today conceded if he wins the election, he will be the first sitting president to admit that he smoked marijuana and inhaled.
This is Michael Clark.
Al Gore today toured the movie production company that produced the film Titanic. But Gore insists his ship is rising, not sinking. Speaking to employees at this high-tech movie company, Gore knows that education is an issue that hits a nerve here.
I want to be not just the education president. I want to lead this country to have an education decade.
Gore then paid a lunchtime visit to diners at the Rose Cafe in Venice. He kissed the baby, but, well, the baby cried, wanted back to mommy. But now that California could be a vital primary, Gore is trying his best to be likable in a state where personality counts. In an interview with Channel 4 News, Gore conceded that if elected, he would be the first president to admit that he smoked marijuana.
Have you ever smoked marijuana?
Yeah, I acknowledged that back 12, 13 years ago when I ran for president.
Finally, check this out. Al Gore and Governor Gray Davis went through an Alphonse and Gaston routine as to who would pay for lunch. Gore ended up paying. Still, people we talked to at the firm the vice president visited were still undecided.
What's it going to be, Gore or Bradley? Who are you going to vote for?
I've got to reserve my judgment on that, I'm afraid. I think that it's a little too early to say.
A lot of undecided. Also today, Bill Bradley spent the day campaigning in San Francisco, and California Republicans are asking the question, where's George W.? Bush will not be visiting the California Republican Convention this weekend, sending brother Jeb in his place. Paul Colleen.
So the vice president picked up the tab for lunch, huh? That's very interesting. Thank you. Thanks a lot, man. Straight ahead at 5 o'clock, our special live report, Getting Out Alive.
I'm Conan Nolan in Groton, Connecticut, where they have a place called Survival Systems Incorporated. They train you on how to survive an air crash, particularly one in the water. Now, this training wouldn't have helped anyone on Alaska Airlines Jet 261, but it could help you. It certainly will help your peace of mind. I'll have a series of live reports.
And before it's all over, Conan will actually be plunged into a tank inside a fuselage. You'll see how he used what he learned to get out alive.
Plus, a dramatic life and death struggle as crews work to free a man who fell through thin ice. The news at 5 just getting started.
On the next Extra, they were happily married until they discovered they were brother and sister. Then, Extra reunites a crazed driver and the cop who gave him a ticket. Plus, exclusive Cindy Margolis. She's hot on the internet and on the beach. Next Extra.
Tonight at 7.
Tomorrow at 6 on the Channel 4 News. What will $17 million buy you?
You really want to hear?
We'll give you your first look inside. Watch Unreal Estate tomorrow at 6, only on the Channel 4 News.
Take the high road now in a 2000 Mercury Mountaineer. You can say the tough got going. You just can't say the going got tough, because you'll get a Mountaineer with a special California package that includes V8 power, no-charge leather seating surfaces, single CD player, and all-wheel drive. It's an incredible package at a gift wrap price. Only $299 a month. If you hurry to your California Mercury dealer now, where the going gets easy.
Proposition 30 and 31 will cost you money. Did I get your attention? 30 and 31 will increase your insurance rates about $300 a year, and that's no small change. It rewards people who break the law and drive without insurance by giving them new rights to sue for huge punitive damages, and that means thousands more lawsuits. The lawyers could make millions. But don't take my word for it. Get the facts yourself. Do you have money to pay for higher insurance rates? I didn't think so.
Closed captioning on NBC4 is made possible by the generous support of Robinson's May. You're watching the Channel 4 News at 5, winner of the 50th Annual Golden Mike Award for Best Newscast in Southern California.
There you see it, the Highway Patrol in hot pursuit this morning, chasing a Cyprus man wanted for allegedly molesting a child and making terrorist threats. The suspect in a pickup here led officers on a 2-hour chase on several Orange County freeways. He apparently crashed near San Clemente, took off on foot, trying to fight off a police dog with a flashlight. Finally, the officers subdued the man with shots from a beanbag gun. Tonight, the suspect, identified as Raul Armenta, is in custody without bail.
Orange County woman is facing murder charges tonight. She is accused of running over her estranged husband not once, but twice. Channel 4's Vicki Vargas joins us live now from the murder scene, and she has got the latest. Vicki.
Well, Newport Beach police say this was a couple that had a volatile relationship. They had been to their home not far from here 5 times in the last year. Most recently, the Van Houtens were arguing over who would get the family's car in their divorce case, a car which police say was used here as a murder weapon.
A little bit of tire screeching and some banging noises, but that was it.
Did you know what was happening at the time?
Didn't have a clue.
Police say there had been an argument and that Leslie Van Houten ran over her estranged husband not once but twice. He had been chasing her on a bicycle.
As he's riding his bike on the street looking for the car, she sees him and runs him down, knocks him off the bike, and then backs up and runs over him again, and then flees the scene.
The investigators say the pair were in the midst of a divorce. The 40-year-old mother of 3 had tried to hide her car from her 52-year-old husband. Wednesday morning, Kenneth Van Houten followed his wife, carrying with him the club, a locking device he planned to put on the car so she couldn't drive it. But police say Mrs. Van Houten struck first.
It was a little odd because the bike was so far away from the initial impact. It was a little weird.
So she either had to be sick or was on maybe medication or something. Because I can't believe that anger could do something like this.
Investigators found the 1993 Geo a few blocks away. Van Houten was arrested at the home where she's a caregiver. According to police, she took a bus to work. Did she know that she had killed her husband?
We believe she did. We believe from the witnesses' descriptions, her intent all along was to knock him down and to cause him some serious harm.
We should mention that this Van Houten is not related to the Leslie Van Houten related to Charles Manson, that is. This Van Houten, however, is behind bars tonight, being held on a $250,000 bail on suspicion of murder. Reporting live from Newport Beach, I'm Vicki Vargas. Paul, Colleen, back to you.
All right, Vicki, thank you. Coming up right here, you'll see Conan Nolan's live report from Connecticut. Getting Out Alive, that's in a live report coming your way in 2 minutes at 5:30.
But first, a scary crash when a bus full of children collides with a car. That's coming up next.
And then a restaurant sign setting off a huge controversy. Some people say this sign promotes a racist stereotype.
Tonight, the NBC February events begin on Friends with Reese Witherspoon as Rachel's sister.
That's Joey.
Hey, how you doing?
Don't!
Then Jesse's having a baby. Somehow. Plus, Frasier's dating the hottest girl from high school.
Lorna Lemley. No, really, who?
And the question on everyone's mind.
Is it possible Daphne has feelings for me?
Plus, it's Stark raving Shakespeare.
The blood of my heart rusheth to my codpiece.
The NBC February events begin must-see TV tonight.
At Wix Furniture, they've made shopping.
Absolutely foolproof.
Let's say you bring your furniture home and it's too big, too small.
Wix will take it back.
Come to Wix Furniture's big 36-hour store-wide sale. It starts tomorrow. Huge savings everywhere with special reductions on every dining room and dinette. Plus, put no money down with no monthly payments and no finance charges due for 1 year with a Wix charge.
7-day return policy. No questions asked.
Yeah, my wife tried it. It wouldn't take me.
The corporate wolves are back to kill Prop 30. Join Ralph Nader and the American Association of Retired Persons and say yes to Prop 30. Yes on Prop 30. It protects you.
Nissan's been building trucks for over 40 years. They even introduced America's first compact pickup. So they have a truck for whatever you need, like the hard-working Frontier regular cab and 2 new additions, Frontier King Cab and the Frontier Crew Cab. First compact pickup with 4 real doors. Check this out. Hey guys, let's go. I guess that's a wrap, huh?
Parents and grandparents, write down this toll-free number. It's for the Golden State Scholarshare College Savings Trust, a new way to save money for your child or grandchild's college education. Established by the state of California, it's flexible. You can start with $25 and receive tax-deferred benefits, too. Tap into this new opportunity before they grow up.
A driver reportedly with a suspended license and a drunk driving conviction behind him slammed into a school bus in Coachella this morning, injuring 21 students. The students were all 7th and 8th graders going to classes in Coachella. Fortunately, none seriously hurt. The driver of the car was identified as 22-year-old Gabriel Avila of Indio. At last report, he is listed in serious but stable condition tonight at a hospital in Indio.
Controversy in San Bernardino tonight over a restaurant sign, and tonight a group of local Hispanics there is outraged. They say the sign is racist. This is the controversial sign. You can see what it shows here. Critics say the logo at Guadalajara's promotes violence and racism, and they want the sign taken down. The restaurant owners say they're surprised over this controversy, but tonight really no word if they've made a decision on whether or not to keep the sign or take it down.
An Orange County Vietnamese shopkeeper who sparked those massive protests by displaying the communist symbols now says police failed to protect him. Trong Van Tram's communist displays at his video store in Westminster sparked emotional protests for several weeks last year. Today he filed federal civil rights lawsuits claiming officials failed to keep the crowds away.
They not only failed to protect my free speech rights, but actually have to rob them from me.
Tran is seeking $1 million in punitive damages from several defendants, including the city of Westminster, the police chief there, and his former business landlord. So far, no response yet from anybody who was named in his lawsuit.
As we've seen this week, for victims of Flight 261, survival was virtually impossible. But there are some crashes you can survive if you know what to do. We will show you what makes some crashes survivable and what you can do to get out alive. A live report coming right up.
Plus, a consumer alert tonight about the candles you burn. Are they releasing dangerous chemicals into the air that you breathe? And Fritz.
Hi, everybody. Well, it's hard to believe there is some rain lurking nearby. Will it hit us? Well, I'll tell you about that in my 5-day AccuWeather forecast coming up in 2 minutes.
Tonight at 6 on the Channel 4 News. Everyone in the neighborhood remembers her as Mama. Her storefront murder devastated a community. Tonight, a major move to help keep Mama's spirit and dream alive. How the people who loved her are pulling together. At 6 on the Channel 4 News.
Trying to cover up a dull coat? Try eating healthier dog food. Petco has all the nutritious premium brands you can't get at a supermarket for a healthy coat that'll make you shine. Petco, where the pets go.
So, you've managed to point and click your way into too much debt.
Why not point and click your way out of debt with a second mortgage from Ditech.com? Whether you have equity or no equity, good credit or not so good credit, Ditech has a second mortgage with absolutely no closing costs to help you lower your monthly payments now. So point and click your way out of high-interest, non-tax deductible credit card debt at Ditech.com.
Or call us at 1-800-71-FIXED. Ditech.com.
Today, California Indian casinos support nearly 50,000 jobs and generate $120 million in state and local taxes every year. Proposition 1A will make it clear once and for all that Indian gaming is permitted on tribal lands. It will allow us to continue our economic progress so we can provide better health care, housing, and education for our people. And Prop 1A will share millions of dollars with tribes that don't have casinos. Please vote yes on Prop 1A. Thank you.
Chevy Malibu has raised the standards. Standard V6. Standard automatic. Standard ABS. Standard Air. No other car offers all this standard for under $17,000. Chevy Malibu. Standards you can depend on.
Now get a 2000 Malibu with 0% APR financing for 36 months. Residency restrictions apply. Call for important details. See your Chevy dealer today.
Time to haul in the savings at Petco. Save $5 with mail-in rebate on select bags of NutroMax dog food and Nutro Natural Choice Hairball Management cat food. So grab the savings and run to Petco, where the pets go.
You know, you took a look outside today and you couldn't believe that there's some rain coming. I mean, it was just knocked down gorgeous.
It doesn't even feel like it. Usually we sort of get that feel, that sort of damp
just
feel.
cancel it.
Well, let's talk to Fritz.
All right, the Fritz. The rain is
Fritz
canceled,
man.
Fritz. The Fritz is canceled, rain.
Well, the rain is about 20 miles away from us. It's ready to lurch. It's set up. It's offensive, but we have a pretty good blockade of dry, high pressure over us that may not allow it to approach. Now, some of the northern spots like Santa Barbara and Ventura County, including the recovery area, may in fact get a shower, a brief one, with not much measurable precipitation overnight tonight. Here's a shot from our valley cam. A little breeze blowing. It's still a mild offshore flow. That's what's making us warm and lovely today. Here are the numbers. We had a high today of 75, about 5 degrees cooler than yesterday. Last night's low 51. Right now in downtown LA, 69. We have 30% relative humidity. The pressure is rising. Variable winds to 6. The almanac stats are 69 and 50, the normal temperatures. Sun up in the morning at 6:49, setting at 5:26. Here's a WeatherNet site in Fraser Park. Up at the elementary school, 62 the high, 48 at the moment, 38% relative humidity, and a north-northwest wind, 5 to 10 miles an hour. As we look at the 3D map, you can see it as we come into the western third of the United States that the jet stream is just missing us, arcing those storms out of the subtropical jet northeastward up through the Bay Area, and we're catching that trailing cold front. Now, here's a combination of radar and satellite, what we call RADSAT. Now, RADSAT. Let me get the nomenclature together. Look at where the precipitation lies, about 20 to 25 miles southwest of Point Conception, but bucking a very dry pocket of air with the offshore flow. So overnight tonight, we do have a shower chance. I suppose we ought to keep in the forecast. Anyone has an opportunity for a sprinkle or some drizzle, but mainly the greatest opportunity for a shower would be in Santa Barbara and Ventura County, and in those two counties in the upper elevation spots, the mountain areas, San Ynez Mountains and so forth. Probably what we'll get will be mostly cloudy skies for the rest of the LA basin. Tomorrow we have a combination of clouds and sun, and temperatures 10 to 12 degrees cooler in some spots, probably maintaining that same feel for Saturday. Here's a closer view to show you how close some of that moisture is getting. We do have our next rain opportunity, which we're keeping in the forecast, and although it's slightly greater than the chance we have of getting a shower tonight, it's not that big a deal. It's a marginal forecast for a shower at about midday Saturday, and Sunday and Monday drying out. Clouds and sun, or clouds overnight tonight, a northern shower possible, some sunshine tomorrow. Quickly, we'll look at the overnight lows, which are about 3 or 4 degrees cooler than last night. 50 or slightly above or below, 51 in Newport Beach, highs in the mid and upper 60s tomorrow. Really everywhere, there's about a 10-degree margin of daytime highs tomorrow. 47 in Thousand Oaks overnight, 67 the high there tomorrow. And then look at the Inland Empire, Riverside, San Bernardino overnight tonight, a temperature of 43 degrees, 48 in Pasadena, highs tomorrow mid and upper 60s in those spots. A quick look at the mountains and deserts. Palmdale 39 in the high desert, 48 in the low desert of Palm Springs. Those are the highs for our two mountain ranges as well. Here's the 5-day forecast. Maybe a shower up north tonight, maybe a shower anywhere Saturday, but as we've done all winter long, marginal rain forecast. The mechanics aren't in place for any good soaking rain, that's for sure.
That's bad news, good news.
Yeah.
Very good.
Okay.
Thanks, Fritz.
Fritz, this is something that really has got our interest around here. Our special live report, Getting Out Alive, is coming up next here at 5:30. Our Conan Nolan is live at a Connecticut training center. He'll show you what you need to know to get out of a wreckage in a survivable crash. That's coming up next.
Then the reports are in on what's being called a possible cure for the common cold. But the question is, does it really work? We'll find out.
Plus how Tiger was tamed up north today. Fred will show you the video. The news at 5:30 right around the corner.
AccuWeather on NBC4 is sponsored by California Children and Families Commission, funded by Prop 10.
Cradle me. I am yours. My hands. Yours. My eyes. Yours. My heart. Yours. Cradle me.
The first 5 years of a child's life can impact the rest of their lives. California Children and Families Commission, funded by Prop 10.
Hey, what's up? Carson Dale here at a Pizza Hut parking lot talking free CDs. This is awesome. We've been camped out here for 3 days. Okay, here's the deal. You buy the Big New Yorker pizza for $9.99. Then you get a personal access code. You go online to cdnow.com, personalize your own free CD, choose 6 songs from their selection of over 200 hits, and they even mail it to you for free. Woo! So what's going to be on your CD? I want some stuff that expresses my youthful rage. Rap.
Alternative.
Yeah, I've got a Big New Yorker pizza for Jim. Wait, this is for Jim. Wait, who's paying for this?
The Channel 4 News and the Lincoln Mercury Dealer Association bring you Unsung Heroes. Watch Friday at 4 and again in Today in LA weekend. Watch the Channel 4 News, working for you.
Xingnan Kuai Le, I'm Ted Chen. Join me at the San Gabriel Valley Lunar New Year celebration, kicking off with a 1.5K fun run, the Parade of Cities, and a street festival, plus a Millennium Group wedding. This Saturday, call for information.
Why is Sizzler the only restaurant serving 8 great USDA platters for less than $10? Maybe it's because we're the only one that can. Sizzler, dollar for dollar, the world's best steaks.
What creates professional-grade agility? A wider stance for improved handling. Bigger brakes for driver confidence. And a new suspension for a better ride. A world of innovations plus one new name. The GMC Suburban is now the all-new, surprisingly agile Yukon XL. GMC, do one thing, do it well.
This is really good.
Well, what is it?
A crispy bar.
Looks like one of those new Little Debbie crispy bars to me.
It's not crispy, it's crispy.
You got one for me?
Say please. Got a bite.
Live from NBC4, the station working for you. Paul Moyer, Colleen Williams, Fritz Coleman AccuWeather, Fred Rogan Sports. Southern California's #1 news, the Channel 4 News at 5:30.
Tonight, we know for sure there was no way anybody could have survived the crash of Alaska Air Flight 261. But who could forget when this hijacked plane hit the water, broke into pieces, and amazingly, when you watch this, and we've seen it many times, dozens did survive. In fact, there are many times when survival is possible if you know what to do. And tonight, we're talking to survivors and experts to show you what to do to help your chances to survive a plane crash. Good evening once again. I'm Paul Moyer.
And I'm Colleen Williams. We begin tonight at 5:30 with several survivor stories of people getting out alive. Tragically, we know at this point tonight that no one survived the crash of Flight 261. But that, as Paul said, is not always the case. There are plane crashes when people can survive a crash in the water. NBC4's Conan Nolan is live in Groton, Connecticut tonight at a survival center to show us exactly how it's done. Conan.
Colleen, it's called Survival Systems Incorporated, and they train you on how to survive an air crash, particularly one that hits the water. Now, we understand that there's no way anyone on board Alaska Airlines Flight 261 could have survived. In fact, we had planned this series of reports weeks ago. We were considering canceling them, but then we thought twice, realizing that many plane accidents actually happen close to the ground, and you can survive them. Keep in mind that so many of the accidents we've been seeing, however, have been taking place at an odd time, a time that's considered the safest part of a plane flight, at 30,000 feet.
It has become an all too familiar story. An aircraft suffers some kind of catastrophic event at high altitude, leaving little to no chance of survival for the passengers and crew. That now appears to have been the case with Alaska Airlines Flight 261, as it was last year with the Egypt Air disaster and the Swiss Air crash in '98, or the TWA explosion off Long Island in '96. But such incidents are extremely rare, particularly where there's no chance of survival.
Nobody could have survived what happened off Point Magoo, and nobody could have survived TWA 800 or the Swiss Air crash. But you can survive air crashes.
You can survive air crashes. You can survive air crashes when the actual speed, shall we say, of impact or contact is slow enough to maintain an intact situation in the plane.
In fact, a 10-year study by Boeing Aircraft found that nearly 7 out of every 10 plane disasters take place not at cruising altitude, but much closer to the ground.
There's nothing we can do about planes falling out of the sky from 30,000 feet, but that's not where most of the accidents take place. Most of them take place near the runway or near the earth, on approach, on takeoff, or on actual landing.
What's this? Such was the case off the East African coast in 1996.
And the pilot came on and said he had lost an engine, was running out of fuel.
A tourist captures on video a hijacked Ethiopian jet out of fuel, hitting the water and breaking into pieces. The hijackers did not survive, taking more than 100 of their hostages with them. But 50 people did swim to safety.
It was obvious the cockpit had torn off, and it was beginning to sink. A lot of water was coming in. I went out through the water.
In 1982, an Air Florida jet hit a Washington bridge and crashed into the Potomac River. But 5 of the 79 people on board managed to survive the impact and the icy water. 10 years later, U.S. Air Flight 405 crashed on takeoff from New York's LaGuardia Airport. It skidded into the icy waters of Flushing Bay.
Floating in the water, and I was like thinking I was in the cabin, but when I opened my eyes, there was no plane over me. I was like next to it.
Some passengers were trapped underwater and upside down, belted to their seats. Still, some 24 people survived, swimming from the plane to safety. Among them, Dr. James Block, president of Johns Hopkins Medical Center.
He got out of one of the doors, the emergency doors, and landed on the wing and dove into the water from the wing and swam to shore.
Now, you can improve your chances of surviving such a wreck with some elementary instruction. In just a few minutes, I'm going to show you what they do here at Survival Systems in Groton, Connecticut, including a trip into this, a high-tech model fuselage, which goes into this tank of water, turns upside down, and where they train you, even if you're strapped to your seat, how you can get out alive. Conan Nolan, reporting live from Groton, Connecticut. Paul Colleen, I'll see you in a few minutes.
All right, Conan, look forward to that. Thanks a lot. If you'll pardon the transition here, tonight, the friendlier skies may be in the future of airplane customers, thanks to action by American Airlines. The chief complaint of airline passengers is lack of legroom on the airplane, so American plans to remove 2 rows of seats on 700 planes, creating 3 to 5 extra inches of legroom. That's quite a bit. Consumer groups say that's neat.
Because being jammed up, if you're over 6 feet, for example, is not only having circulation problems, but you worry whether the fellow or the person in the seat in front is going to lean back with the seat and crush you even more.
And American plans to have all its domestic seats changed by November at a cost of about $70 million.
Well, is there a cure for the common cold? Not exactly, at least not yet, but the latest test on a new nasal gel called Zicam indicate it really can shorten your suffering. Channel 4's Dr. Bruce Hensel has reported on Zicam a number of times in the past, but these are apparently new test results. Dr. Bruce?
Telling new independent results. Now, we first told you about Zicam last year, even before it hit the stores. 30 studies now show it really works, reducing symptoms and the length of a cold. Fighting a cold often seems like a losing battle, but a new weapon is helping win that fight this year. It's called Zicam, an over-the-counter nasal gel containing zinc. Here's how it works. Cold viruses usually enter through the nose and attach to the mucous membrane lining that area. The makers of Zicam say the zinc attaches to the same spots, preventing the cold virus from getting in.
There's been 2 studies now showing that this product can significantly reduce the duration of your cold. Significantly reduce it.
Geltech performed the first study. Now an independent study by Tarzana's Dr. Michael Hurt confirms Geltech's claims.
Our results show that the Zicam nasal spray seems to work twice as effective. That is, people seem to get better twice as fast when using the Zicam nasal spray. And people are definitely happy about that.
Since this has been a particularly bad season for colds, this comes as good news to consumers.
Anything that I can do, like taking Zicam to shorten the duration of a cold, is phenomenal for me.
Now, after using Zicam, studies show that no serious side effects have been reported. Now, like most cold and flu medicine, it's best to use it at the first sign of symptoms. Paul, Colleen, back to you.
All right, Bruce, this is not a testimonial, but I can tell you when I had a cold a couple of weeks ago, I tried it and it seemed to work. Seemed to work for me. All right, dramatic rescue in the icy waters of Lake Michigan. A man falls through the ice and crews race to save him. You'll see that coming up.
Then take a look at the pictures here. The floor of a crowded store suddenly gives way, plunging people right through to the basement. We'll see how it happens.
Also, more tonight of our special report, Getting Out Alive. Specific steps you can take to increase your chances of surviving a plane crash. That's coming up.
Next, Rosie, the one and only Madonna! My friend, Madonna! Madonna is going to be here. Madonna for one incredible hour. Next, all new Rosie.
Watch Rosie, NBC4 tomorrow.
Tomorrow at 5 on the Channel 4 News. What's got hot dance tunes, disco lights, and a bowling ball? It's Midnight Madness like you've never seen before, and look who's trying it out for you. Watch Fritz and Fred's Fun Things to Do tomorrow at 5 on the Channel 4 News.
This weekend, save like never before at Carson Toyota. Right now, Carson Toyota has lowered the price on every new Toyota in stock. One of the largest selections in Southern California. New 2000 Camry starting at $13,988. New Corolla starting at $10,988. And new Tacoma starting at $10,988. And only $500 down delivers. Don't miss the savings at Carson Toyota this Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Carson Toyota, just off the 405 freeway at the Wilmington exit in Carson.
Proposition 30 and 31 will cost you money. Did I get your attention? 30 and 31 will increase your insurance rates about $300 a year, and that's no small change. It rewards people who break the law and drive without insurance by giving them new rights to sue for huge punitive damages, and that means thousands more lawsuits. The lawyers could make millions. But don't take my word for it. Get the facts yourself. Do you have money to pay for higher insurance rates? I didn't think so.
So, you've managed to point and click your way into too much debt.
Why not point and click your way out of debt with a second mortgage from Ditech.com? Whether you have equity or no equity, good credit or not so good credit, Ditech has a second mortgage with absolutely no closing costs to help you lower your monthly payments now. So point and click your way out of high-interest, non-tax deductible credit card debt at Ditech.com.
Or call us at 1-800-71-FIXED. Ditech.com.
When you play in Laughlin, you choose the pace. And you choose the place. Indoors or out. Daytime or night. In any of 11 exciting resorts. Just call 1-800-4-LAUGHLIN and you're ready to play the way you like it.
Hundreds of shoppers in Spain went through a terrifying ordeal today when the second floor of a furniture store collapsed. Rescuers say more than 150 people were hurt, some very seriously, when the second story caved in. Hundreds of people were inside for a very big sale. The store had advertised sofas for as little as $18. Spanish media said entire families had come looking for the bargains. Thankfully, nobody was killed. No word yet on what caused the collapse.
Meantime, a dramatic rescue near Chicago after a man fell through thin ice there today, and he survived by hanging onto some big chunks of ice. The man broke through the ice while walking on Lake Michigan. He was in that water for about an hour until a woman heard him call for help. Emergency crews arrived on the scene. After several tries, they were finally able to rescue him. Once out of the water, the 47-year-old man was able to communicate. Tonight, he is listed in serious condition. Doctors say they are amazed he survived.
All right, things are happening very quickly tonight, as you know. We'll check in now with Kelly Mack and see what's coming up on Channel 4 News at 6 tonight. Hi, Kelly.
Hi, Paul. Just a few minutes from now on the Channel 4 News at 6. Caught on tape, smash and grab bandits leave an electronics store in shambles. You'll see this dramatic video. Plus, NFL Hall of Famer Jim Brown claims that he was the target of harassment by the LAPD. You'll see what triggered those accusations. And this beloved store owner was the victim of senseless violence. Now an LA neighborhood comes together to spread Mama's message of peace in the community. Those stories and late-breaking developments on the crash of Alaska Air Flight 261, all of that and more coming up at 6. We hope to see you then. Paul Colleen, back to you. All right, Kelly, and we will see you then. In the meantime, what can you do to survive a plane crash? NBC4's Conan Nolan takes you inside training designed for passengers to show them how to survive. That's coming right up.
Also, we got sports tonight. The Clippers sent another coach to the firing line. Fred will show it to you coming up next. No real surprise.
Miss Blaine, on 30 October, you were observed handing out these suspicious-looking little discs.
Those discs you refer to bestow freedom on all who possess them.
What you call freedom, I call license. A license to go willy-nilly all over the internet without paying a cent.
Well, shouldn't that be a right? Shouldn't the internet be free to us, our children, and to all people? Net Zero believes it should.
The corporate wolves are back to kill Prop 30. They want to overturn the new California law that forces foreign and out-of-state insurance companies to pay California consumers on time. Join Ralph Nader and the AARP. Vote yes on Prop 30. It protects you.
Introducing the all-new Hyundai Accent. It gives you a serious array of responsible features without losing its wild side. The 2000 Accent from Hyundai with the freedom of America's best warranty.
Hey, what an array this Vista takes my breath away. They got vision, they got style, they got options to go for miles. Choose choice, choose Vista. You can't resist a Vista.
Get more cool choices of complete glasses from just $49. Choose Vista.
Thin rims, trim rims, her rims, in rims, cool rims, hot rims, got a lot of rims. Choose choice, choose Vista. You can't resist a Vista. Choose choice.
Why is Sizzler the only steak restaurant serving 8 great USDA platters like this one, and this one, and even this one? for under $10? Maybe it's because we're the only one that can. Sizzler. Dollar for dollar, the world's best steak.
All right, Fred's here with a look at sports, and you got a fax thing over there, too?
All right, you know what? We got a fax today. Actually, it was sent to the Clippers. It was copied to us, and it comes from Chris Agrella from Statewide Services Incorporated. What are you waiting for? Fire Coach Ford and cut your losses now while you can still sell tickets. There it is. You know what? Who says the Clippers don't listen to their fans? After back-to-back losses totaling 77 points, something had to give. Head coach Chris Ford fired today, becoming the latest in a long line of Clipper coaching casualties. The Clippers have the second worst record in the NBA at 11-34, losers of 16 of their last 18 games. Like his predecessors, this Ford didn't have a better idea. But let's face it, with the Clippers, quality never seems to be job one. Assistant Jim Todd, who filled in for Ford when he was out with a bad back, is the next lucky contestant on an interim basis. But in truth, it's not the players, it's not the coach. It's the organization's refusal to commit to putting together a winning franchise. Until that happens, not even John Wooden could right this Clipper ship. Also, if you should hear about a large shipment of Excedrin, Tylenol, or Advil, or all of the above, shipped to Dallas, it's because a Texas-sized headache is on the way. Dennis Rodman signed with the Dallas Mavericks today, and the shenanigans have already begun for the Worm before he takes the court with the Mavs, who will be in town Saturday to play the Clippers. Team officials said Rodman planned to take one more week off to get in shape, or maybe fly to Hawaii for the NFL Pro Bowl. Golf on the Monterey Peninsula, the celebs are always having a good time at the first round of the Pebble Beach Pro-Am. One of the Smothers brothers turned a golf ball into a yo-yo. David Duval, the leader at 4 under through 10 holes, but the first round suspended around 2 o'clock today because of heavy winds and rain. For an example, take a look at this dynamic duo, the cameraman and the golfer, both struggling in the wind and rain to handle their shots. About as difficult as it could get for both of them. As for Tiger Woods, he's looking for his 6th straight tournament win. He's 5 shots off the pace, but he did seem more worried about his Super Mario video game in the warm and dry clubhouse. The first round will be picked up again tomorrow. And finally this hour from the NFL, no. These men are not reacting to the Clipper and Rodman news. Instead, they're wondering, what have we done now? This is the next fearless foursome who will try to turn around the New Orleans Saints, who with unbridled excitement announced the man on the far right as their new head coach, former Steelers defensive coordinator Jim Haslett. In 3 years, if he gets fired, his name will go from Haslett to Hadlet. Okay.
So Tiger plays Super Mario.
Yeah, and very well.
Yeah, my kids will be happy to know that.
hear that,
yeah. You know.
Something in common with Tiger Woods.
Okay.
That's all we have in common with Tiger Woods. We showed you a few minutes ago, there are some cases when people can survive an airplane crash if they have the proper training and they know exactly what to do beforehand. We go back tonight to Channel 4's Conan Nolan. He is live at a training facility in Connecticut to show us how to get out alive. And Conan, I guess later on we're going to see you actually try to escape, right?
That's right, Paul. I'm actually in the tank right now and give you an idea of what it's like here. Now, keep in mind that this company is unlike any other in the United States. There's another company affiliated with it in Canada. This is the first one in the United States. They've been here for less than a year. What they do is that they teach people on how to survive plane crashes, particularly those that end up in the water. Now, what you're looking at now, well, in the military, they call it a dunker because they do this training in the military. Here they have a much longer name for it. In any case, it is a high-tech vehicle which puts people in the position of ending up underwater, completely turned around, and gives you the instruction on how you can escape. But besides that, though, they do all sorts of other training with regards to how to save your life. Indeed, the most terrible thing can happen to you when you're in an airplane. There's a hard pull. They train the Canadian Air Force, private pilots, commercial pilots, flight attendants, and anyone else who appreciates that in life, knowledge is power. What happened off Point Mugu in the Santa Barbara Channel this week was not survivable. But in many air accidents, the fuselage remains intact. Passengers on land or in the water often have a chance to escape. Here at Survival Systems Training Incorporated, based in Groton, Connecticut, they give you that chance.
We focus here in this company, in our training methodologies, in our skills, and our knowledge on these survivable situations only.
It's the first private flight safety office of its kind in the United States. For a fee, they will train you on the simple things that can be the difference between life and death, such as how to position a seatbelt.
So you want me to be snug on takeoffs and landings?
Especially takeoff and
Now you're
landing.
going to open.
To the dynamics of a fire in the passenger cabin. But their specialty is surviving a crash landing in the water, deploying the inflated emergency chute, sliding out of the way so as not to be struck by others, opening up the aircraft's emergency life raft, and the skills needed to pull yourself and others to safety. Training common to the military. It's what saved 11 Marines last December when their helicopter crashed into the waters off San Diego.
I remember saying to myself, not that I'm going to drown, but more, I'm about to drown. And then thinking for a second, just that I don't want to die this way.
Now, that Marine lived because he had training that the military offers, training that's now available to civilians. Training coming from this apparatus behind me. Now, in just a few minutes, I'm going to show you what it's like to get inside this dunker. They turn you around in a variety of different ways, but they've trained you how to use reference points, even if you're blindfolded, how you can reach the exit door and make your way to safety. That's just in a few minutes on the Channel 4 News at 6. Conan Nolan reporting live from Groton, Connecticut. Paul Culling, back to you.
All right, Conan. And that's the big problem. You get so disoriented when you're going down. I understand. I have, my husband's been through this. You lose your sense. You don't know whether you're swimming down or swimming up to get to the surface.
Underwater, you can't really tell, especially when it's dark, when it's black under there.
Yeah. We'll get back to Conan in just a few minutes. In the meantime, still to come here, a touching tribute to the victims of Alaska Air Flight 261.
Also caught on tape, a group of smash and grab bandits leave an electronics store in shambles.
But first tonight, a hidden danger in your candles. An important consumer alert about what your candles may be releasing into the air you breathe.
Tonight at 6 on the Channel 4 News, everyone in the neighborhood remembered her as Mama. Her storefront murder devastated a community. Tonight, a major move to help keep Mama's spirit and dream alive. How the people who loved her are pulling together. At 6 on the Channel 4 News.
Diamonds, the gift that lasts forever. The Jewelry Exchange in Tustin imports all their diamonds direct. They carry thousands of diamonds, most GIA or EGL certified, and all the guaranteed lowest prices. 1-carat solitaires start at $5.99. The Jewelry Exchange makes all their jewelry in their state-of-the-art factory and has hundreds of rings, pendants, earrings, and bracelets. Only the Jewelry Exchange in Tustin guarantees all their jewelry to a price of at least double, that's right, double the purchase price. Buy factory direct and save. The Jewelry Exchange in Tustin.
The adventures of America's most wanted hot dog. The Wiener Schnitzel chili dog escaped again. Will America catch him, garnish him, and savor his tasty chili? Oh, delicious one, is there any hope at all? Maybe, because now chili cheese fries are on sale for just 99 cents. Fries smothered in chili and topped with cheddar cheese, only 99 cents.
California students pack tighter and tighter in trailers and hallways. Schools so overcrowded, students eat lunch in shifts, starting at 10:30 a.m. Prop 26 lets us invest in our schools to ease overcrowding and improve learning. And Prop 26 requires that money be spent building new schools or fixing dilapidated ones, not on administration. So our children have room to learn. Yes, on 26.
Take the high road now in a 2000 Mercury Mountaineer. Because you'll get a Mountaineer with a special California package that includes V8 power, no-charge leather seating surfaces, single CD player, and all-wheel drive. It's an incredible package at a gift-wrap price. Only $2.99 a month. If you hurry to your California Mercury dealer now.
The Channel 4 News and the Lincoln Mercury Dealer Association bring you Unsung Heroes. Watch Friday at 4 and again in Today in L.A. weekend. Watch the Channel 4 News, working for you.
A warning tonight about a household danger. Experts say some types of candles could actually be hazardous to your health, something you really don't think about at all. Channel 4's Jim Giggins is here now with a consumer alert on which ones are safe and which ones aren't. Jim.
And some of them are not, apparently. Maybe you like to burn candles because of the atmosphere they create or the pleasant scent they give off, but those candles could pose a danger to you and your family, as you'll see in this consumer alert.
They help you relax. They set the mood.
and the scented ones even leave your home with a nice aroma. But if you buy the imported candles, beware. They may have a wick with a metal core, and that core, when it burns, can expose you and your family to lead.
You can use zinc, it's fine. Burns just fine. If it's made with lead, it's poisonous.
Angelique Gay is a candle maker at Knott's Berry Farm. She says you can often look at the wick to tell if it has a metal wire inside.
This doesn't have metal in it at all. It's real flexible. A metal core wick is going to stand up straight.
American-made candles aren't allowed to have metal wicks and can't include certain toxic materials. But imported candles don't face the same rules. Some scientists say metal wicks aren't their only concern.
There's a whole host of chemicals associated with the effluent from candles. Carbon monoxide, of course, is one that we've all heard about, but there's others, including polyaromatic hydrocarbons. You have even dioxins, which are produced in very low concentrations by a burning candle.
But candle makers say if you buy quality candles, they are safe. And people like Sheila Schaff, who love candles, say too much is being made out of possible danger.
Candles have been around for hundreds of years, and there's been absolutely no problems with them from the pioneers until now.
Nonetheless, some tips. Make sure you check the tag on the bottom of the candle before buying it to see if it's an American-made candle. And to avoid potential side effects from chemicals in candles, look for ones made of beeswax. They're more expensive, but they're also more natural.
You're not going to make us replace all those candles strategically placed in our homes,
you may
are you?
keep your candles.
Thank you, Jim, very much. Appreciate that. How the LAPD corruption scandal could end up costing taxpayers hundreds of millions of dollars.
Plus, an LA community calls for an end to violence in memory of a beloved store owner. That's minutes away at 6.
But first, we met him before, a guy living life on the web. So how's .com guy doing now? Well, we're going to find out.
Chevy Malibu has raised the standards. Standard V6. Standard automatic. Standard ABS. Standard air. No other car offers all this standard for under $17,000. Chevy Malibu. Standards you can depend on.
Now get a 2000 Malibu with 0% APR financing for 36 months. Residency restrictions apply. Call for important details. See your Chevy dealer today.
Travis, you be sure to wear your new black boots.
What a man won't do for a good steak. At Black Angus, get a sirloin steak, petite lobster, crab stuffed mushroom, and fried shrimp for $14.99. Black Angus, if you really love steak.
NBC Friday begins with the first of 4 all-new episodes of Providence.
If you're not busy tonight.
And the final step that leads to a wedding. Then on an all-new Dateline, 10 young children abandoned by their mother. Could these siblings find a way to stay a family? An amazing story of sacrifice. And how far would wives go to get their husbands out of jail?
Using sex to influence the justice system.
Angie Everhart guest stars on an all-new Law & Order Special Victims Unit right after Providence and Dateline, NBC Friday.
Tonight, Lifeline, the science of aging. Think those lines are inevitable? These scientists with new discoveries to turn back the clock. NBC Nightly News tonight. It is time now to check in with .com guy. Remember this man in Texas who has decided to live his life for a whole year on the internet? He doesn't go to the store. He surfs the web for goods. So the UPS guy is now his newest best friend. But .com guy says his system is working.
I keep reading that I must be crazy for doing this. I guess that's what I get for reading.
Well, folks, he has really legally changed his name. .com guy says he'll spend all year proving the internet can be used as a substitute for normal human interaction. Now, if you can just find .com gal, you'll be able to laugh all the way to the .com thanks.
Can't you find anything on the internet these days?
Uh-huh.
Oh, well, that wraps it up for the news at 5. But don't go away. The Channel 4 News at 6 begins right now.
Live from NBC4, the station working for you. Chuck Henry, Kelly Mack, Fritz Coleman AccuWeather, Fred Rogan Sports. Southern California's #1 news, the Channel 4 News at 6.
Of all the pictures we've seen since the crash of the Alaska Airlines jet, perhaps this is the most touching of all. A circle of friends gathered silently at a local airport in solemn remembrance of the victims of Flight 261. Good afternoon, and thanks for joining us. I'm Kelly Mack.
And I'm Chuck Henry, and we begin at 6 o'clock now with the tributes and the solemn remembrances for those aboard Flight 261. The passengers and crew
who perished aboard the Alaska Airlines jet. And we begin with Channel 4's Beverly White. Bev?
Yes, Chuck, those tributes and solemn remembrances are now just a memory, at least for today, for the family members who just returned within the last hour here at the Wyndham Hotel just outside LAX. We have video that we'd like to share with you now of their return here to the hotel. As you may recall, they were staying at the Renaissance Hotel not too far away. We understand for business reasons they've been transferred now to the Wyndham just a few blocks away. Once again, they were at the Port Hueneme site this afternoon, and they returned today in that caravan you see of buses, private vehicles, personal cars, vans, and the like, around 5:20 tonight. This hotel is planning to accommodate the families for as long as it takes, and we are standing by right now for a news conference from a representative of the American Red Cross as well as the National Transportation Safety Board. We're not sure exactly when those statements will be made, but we are here at the Wyndham Hotel until that happens. This hotel, by the way, has lowered its American flag atop the hotel to half-staff in memory of those victims. Reporting live outside LAX, I'm Beverly White. Back to you in the studio.
All right, Bev, we'll talk to you a little bit later on. Earlier today, there was a grim caravan to the crash site for the families of the victims. In more ways than one, it was a painful and emotional trip. Channel 4's Ted Chen now in Port Hueneme with that part of the story. Ted?
Kelly, this continues to be both a public and private tragedy. The public part continues behind me as people continue to bring flowers and other tributes to this memorial site. The private part perhaps had its most painful moment today when, as you said, relatives of the crash victims came to the waters where their loved ones died. The 150 mourners left the Renaissance Hotel about 11:30 this morning, and on buses and vans, they made their way north, the beginning of a journey to find closure. It took an hour and a half to get to Point Mugu. They arrived at the Naval Air Station, a caravan of somber faces escorted by the Highway Patrol. Then the relatives stood on the beach, some in the sand, some in the water, their eyes staring at the ocean, their minds and hearts filled with faces, pictures, and memories. Coming here was something they had to do.
See the ocean, to walk on the beach, to grieve, to share stories about their family members, to honor and cherish their loved ones that they lost.
Later, some of the relatives came to the memorial site in Port Hueneme, brought flowers, spent time holding each other and looking at the tributes in the sand. Then they quietly left. And a public vigil for the victims continues right now at the Port Hueneme Pier. It goes on until 8 o'clock. Reporting live from Port Hueneme, Ted Chen, Channel 4 News. Chuck and Kelly, back to you.
Thank you, Ted. Employees of Alaska Airlines and its sister company, Horizon Airlines, took time out this afternoon for a moment of silence in honor of the victims of Flight 261. At Burbank Airport, about 36 workers silently joined hands in a circle and bowed their heads. It was 4:36 p.m., the same time of day that Flight 261 fell out of the sky and crashed off Anacapa Island on Monday. Similar observances were held at company offices system-wide.
Just a few minutes ago, federal investigators said that contrary to what some had reported, the crew who flew that plane down to Puerto Vallarta reported no trouble with the aircraft on that leg of the flight. Channel 4's Patrick Healy is in Port Hueneme now at the CB base, where investigators have been briefing reporters. Patrick?
Chuck Kelly, that information about the Puerto Vallarta leg, among the new facts we learned at a briefing that just wrapped up in the last few seconds, literally here at Port Hueneme. Now, we also learned the first description of the debris field. The NTSB now has that on video. It reveals that the aircraft is badly broken up. There was one section of fuselage with several windows, but for the most part, the largest pieces are no more than 3 feet across, so the aircraft very badly broken up. We have also learned that the NTSB has finished its interview with the mechanic, the airline mechanic, who by radio was trying to help the cockpit crew diagnose the stabilizer problem.
The crew said that they just had a horizontal stabilizer runaway in the nose down position. The mechanic also stated that he thought the flight crew stated something like, "We are in a worse situation than we were."
Earlier today, the vessel Kelly Schwest located and recovered the data recorder. That is the bright orange box on the vessel's surface. This video taken by a U.S. Navy videographer. The data recorder is now en route to the NTSB lab in Washington, D.C. to be analyzed. If it held up, it will contain data on 48 different areas, such as speed and acceleration, and including position of the suspect's horizontal stabilizer trim tabs. Meantime, the voice recorder has already been played back by NTSB staffers at Washington, D.C. headquarters. Chairman Jim Hall said it covers 30 minutes, and right at the very beginning, the cockpit crew is already discussing what they diagnosed as a jammed stabilizer, forcing the jetliner's nose down. They could rein it in, but only for a time.
The crew continued troubleshooting and preparing the airplane for landing. Then control was suddenly lost. The crew made references to being inverted that are consistent with the witness statements.
Perhaps even more disturbing, witnesses also said the jetliner remained intact as it tumbled from the sky in a series of wild gyrations. This would have generated strong G-forces on the helpless passengers inside, possibly enough for them to lose consciousness before the horrible impact. Again, the submersible with the video camera revealing the aircraft badly broken up, but it did locate a section of the tail. However, no decision has been made when that will be brought to the surface. First, they want to do more of the mapping of the debris field. Reporting live from Port Hueneme, Patrick Healy, Channel 4 News. Chuck and Kelly.
All right, Patrick, thank you very much. And very close to where Patrick is right now at the pier at Port Hueneme. This is a live picture of a rather large memorial service going on the beach right there. We've seen services like this in the last few hours. This is another one at nightfall.
Yeah, Ted Chen just reported that this service he expected would go on till about 8 o'clock tonight. As we've told you throughout the last 2 days, there are many of these makeshift memorials along the beach itself. This is the first memorial to be held out on the pier, which is probably less than maybe 4 miles from the actual crash site.
And when you think about how you would deal with this kind of grief, this is actually a beautiful way of remembering all those people that they loved, being right there near the site of their deaths. And I'm sure that for a lot of people out there tonight, this is giving them great comfort to be close to them, but also to be around other people who are feeling the same way.
It's one of those events that affects so many people here on the West Coast because in virtually every major city along the coast, San Diego, Los Angeles, San Francisco, there was a family from Eugene, Oregon,
right.
Seattle, even Anchorage, Alaska, all affected by this. Moving on now, a Southland woman known to many people simply as Mama had one simple wish, that crime somehow would stop, that her neighbors would live in peace. But Mama never lived to see that day because she became the victim of the violence she so abhorred. Pernell Chapman is live in the newsroom now with a look back at her legacy. Pernell?
Well, Chuck, everyone knew her as simply Mama, but those who knew her best say she did more by example than anyone to help ease tensions between Korean-American merchants and African-American customers on LA's South Side.
She touched me and my family and this community in ways that no one will ever know.
Local residents gathered with tears, memories, flowers, and a conviction to keep alive the neighborhood spirit of a murder victim. She was affectionately known to everyone as Mama, a 52-year-old Korean grocer, Chung Pak-hoon. A year ago today, she was shot and killed outside her store at 54th and Van Ness. Her son was wounded, and the gunman has never been found. On the anniversary of her death, some local residents donned green T-shirts in her memory, saying Mama brought love, respect, and understanding between races and cultures, both before and after her death.
It hit the community pretty hard. She was a very loving, caring woman.
Mom brought a lot of this community people together.
She left a legacy in our community, which is so beautiful to see.
During a memorial gathering at St. Bridget's Church, blacks and Koreans vowed to work together in Mama's memory to foster racial harmony.
Sometimes a little kindness goes a long ways, and I think that in the long run, may have helped people see see the light.
We've shown that we're able to come together on a united front.
Now, ministers say they hope Mama's spirit will spread into other neighborhoods of Los Angeles. Kelly, Chuck?
All right, Pernell, thank you. Coming up, NFL Hall of Famer Jim Brown claims that he is the target of harassment by some Los Angeles police officers.
Also still ahead here on the news at 6 o'clock, why the LAPD corruption scandal could cost taxpayers hundreds of millions of dollars.
And look at this. Bandits leave an electronics store in ruins. You'll see this brazen crime all caught on tape.
And in just a moment, we return live to Conan Nolan, who has more on getting out alive. There are some plane crashes that you can survive if you know what to do. We'll show you how.
This weekend at Falls, you can save up to $2,500 on your big screen and up to $1,000 more in interest. No payments of 0%, no interest financing for 1 full year. Pay nothing till 2001. Falls prices on thousands of big screens are so low they're hard to believe. This 60-inch Mitsubishi is only $26.98 with no payments and no interest till 2001. Start planning your Oscar party. Free delivery usually in 4 hours from America's #1 big screen store.
I am looking.
Proposition 30 and 31 will cost you money. Did I get your attention? 30 and 31 will increase your insurance rates about $300 a year, and that's no small change. It rewards people who break the law and drive without insurance by giving them new rights to sue for huge punitive damages, and that means thousands more lawsuits. The lawyers could make millions. But don't take my word for it. Get the facts yourself. Do you have money to pay for higher insurance rates? I didn't think so.
You're looking at the official vehicle of crazy people. Like them. People like to bike off boulders, ski off cliffs. It's the Nissan Xterra SE, and it's got a heavy-duty suspension and a powerful 3.3-liter V6 engine. Tubular roof rack with integrated gear basket, water-resistant seats, and interior bike rack. Oh, and did I mention the built-in first aid kit? The wall kind of snuck up on you, didn't it?
Presenting the new Italian Originals Meet the Trio from Domino's.
Tender prosciutto,
Italian sausage,
tender prosciutto,
spicy pepperoni, music for $10.99.
New Domino's Italian Originals Meet the Trio. Prosciutto, ham, Italian sausage, and spicy pepperoni. So much amore delivered hot for only $10.99.
It's must-see DTV from Best Buy, the proud local sponsor of the HDTV broadcast of the NBA All-Star Game on NBC4. Check out all the HDTV action at a Best Buy near you.
Former professional football great Jim Brown says that he will file a complaint sometime next week, claiming that the LAPD is harassing him. He says the latest proof came last Friday night when he was hosting a party at his house. He says the 30 officers, some with guns, surrounded his house.
The Los Angeles Police Department have basically initiate an agenda against yours truly.
No one was hurt or arrested, and the LAPD says it has no comment, at least not at this time. Brown still faces possible jail time for a domestic violence conviction last year.
There's word tonight that the LAPD corruption scandal could end up costing the city of LA and ultimately all of us taxpayers as much as $125 million. Police Chief Bernard Parks has reportedly warned the LA City Council to be prepared for a flurry of lawsuits, all a result of the scandal at the Rampart Station. And it could cost tens of millions of dollars at least to settle them. Parks has reportedly told the City Council that rapid expansion of the police force is to blame because it strained the department's capacity to properly train and supervise new recruits.
There is concern in the nation's capital tonight about a possible breach of security at the CIA. Director George Tenet told Congress today that his predecessor may have been careless in placing classified material on his home computer. But Tenet testified that no one really believes that the former director, John Deutsch, endangered national security or engaged in espionage. One congressman likened Deutsch's action to those of former Los Alamos scientist Win Lee, who's now in jail on indictments that charge him with transferring top-secret documents to non-secure computers.
Well, straight ahead at 6 o'clock, let's take a live look outside. Fritz will have the weather forecast coming up next.
And a group of brazen bandits smash and grab their way into an electronics store. You'll see the dramatic surveillance video coming up.
I'm Conan Nolan in Groton, Connecticut, where they train people on how to survive crashes, particularly those in the water. In a few minutes, I will be in this apparatus where they turn you upside down into the water.
A beautiful place to lease or buy a beautiful car. Massey Cadillac, where the freeways meet in Downey.
Xingnian Kuai Le, Happy New Year. Hi, I'm Ted Chen. Please join me for the San Gabriel Valley Lunar New Year celebration. It kicked off with a 1.5K fun run, followed by the Parade of the Cities and Street Festival, plus a new Millennium Group Wedding. This Saturday, call for information.
California students pack tighter and tighter in trailers and hallways. Schools so overcrowded, students eat lunch in shifts, starting at 10:30 a.m. Prop 26 lets us invest in our schools to ease overcrowding and improve learning. And Prop 26 requires that money be spent building new schools or fixing dilapidated ones, not on administration. So our children have room to learn. Yes, on 26.
It's Weather Basics from Home Base. Our free in-house consultation can help you design your beautiful new bath, including paint and flooring in a variety of choices. At Home Base, we've got all the bases covered.
We got a dog for the kids. Okay, so I became attached.
Dad!
So my wife called it obsessive. I just wanted a perfect food for my dog. Talked to the vet, talked to the breeder, read books. Okay, 2 words. Go shopping. That's how I found Purina One brand lamb and rice formula. First ingredient, lamb. I think we found our dog food. Me? Obsessive? I don't think so. Purina One, second to none.
Everything about you says you're going to make it to the top. Wouldn't it be nice to drive a car that says you've arrived ahead of schedule? The preferred pre-owned Acura. Only at your Acura dealer.
Dramatic images tonight through the eye of a surveillance camera. A smash and grab robbery in Denver, all caught on tape. This tape of the robbery on Sunday was released just today. You can see the robbers smashing through the glass storefront of this computer store. The robbers then jumped out and started taking all sorts of electronics items. In just a matter of minutes, they loaded up their van and drove off. The store lost $200,000 in equipment and damage to the store. So far, police have made no arrests.
The surf is up, way up. High surf creating a potentially dangerous condition tonight on Southland beaches and piers. It looks like a surfer's dream, this near San Diego. But for a while, lifeguards were considering closing some of the piers just to be safe. Authorities say that boaters should also take some extra precautions. The high surf is expected to subside by late tonight, but some new swells could be back by Saturday.
It looks absolutely lovely, as it did out in the skies today. Although it was kind of warm, or maybe it was just me, I don't know, overheating or something.
It was. Let's fan yourself. Well, it was a very warm today. We had a 75-degree high, folks, but you can feel the ocean influence. The temperature's dropping quickly. There's moisture returning to the air, a precursor to what we will get overnight. For the LA basin, only clouds, but a shower chance up north. Here's the Mount Wilson camera. What a beautiful shot. And here are numbers to show you. 75 the high. Last night's low 51. Right now downtown LA on the SC campus 65, 38% relative humidity. The pressure is steady. Variable winds to 3. Almanac stats and sunrise and sunset times for you right there. And a WeatherNet site. This time we're going down to Corona Del Mar High School in Newport, 74 the high, 60 at the moment. We'll show you a combination of satellite and radar that shows how close the moisture actually is. It's hard to believe after the pristine day we started with. Rain about 15 miles off the coast. Our greatest estimate is that the LA basin has very little chance to get a sprinkle or drizzle, but we will keep it in the forecast. The greatest likelihood of anything happening, and it'll be a passing shower, would be up in Santa Barbara and Ventura County. Other than that, it doesn't look like much of a chance of anything other than clouds down here. Tomorrow we'll have a combination of clouds and sun. Our next rain chance will be about noon on Saturday, and even though that will be a marginal forecast, it will be slightly more than what we're getting today, still less than 50-50. Here's a closer view to show you how close the precipitation is actually getting. We'll probably get a lot of virga tonight. That is rain that doesn't actually hit the surface. It evaporates in the dry air on the way down. Clouds tonight, a northern shower possible, some sunshine tomorrow. Temperatures dropping 10 to 12 degrees in some spots tomorrow. Overnight's a little bit cooler, about 3 or 4 degrees too. Long Beach 50 and the same for Avalon. Highs tomorrow, mid and upper 60s everywhere. 67 at Long Beach, one of the warmer temperatures. 50 degrees in the city of Los Angeles overnight, 45 in Van Nuys and 47 in Thousand Oaks, 66, 67 for those highs, including inland Orange County at Anaheim. Upper 40s for overnight lows in the intermediate spots with mid and upper 60s for highs there. Even Riverside, San Bernardino at 67. Palmdale, high desert communities, 39 overnight, 35 in the San Gabriel Mountains, San Bernardino Mountains, 34 and 48 in Palm Springs. And those are the highs, 50s, 60s, and 70s everywhere. Here's the 5-day forecast. So a smidgen of a shower chance and a mega smidgen of a shower chance at noon on Saturday. It's just
mega smidgen.
I know we're splitting hairs here, but we have to keep it in the forecast because there's a chance. But we're getting these blow-bys here, these close calls, and that's it.
All right, I like this fine meteorological
I know.
term.
I'm trying so hard.
Okay, thank you. Well, when a plane crashes, there are some cases when the people on board can survive. Earlier tonight on the Channel 4 News at 5, our Conan Nolan showed us some of the ways to get out of a plane alive. Now, let's go back live to Conan, where he is going to be fully submerged in the water, buckled into a seat, trying to get out. Conan, are you sure you want to do this?
Well, I wasn't sure at the first, and I have to tell you, Kelly, Chuck, it is a bit frightening. We have to once again make sure everybody understands that no one on Flight 261 could have been helped by this instruction. However, there are lots of air crashes, in fact, a majority of air crashes, which take place at takeoff and landing. And there's some 200 airports around bodies of water, including LAX. Now, here at Survival Systems in Groton, Connecticut, central to their instructions is this apparatus behind me, which after today I know all too well. The military calls it a dunker. Survival Systems Incorporated calls it the MET, for Modular Egress Training Simulator. It's easily the most difficult and most important part of the training here. A submersible cabin that puts the student, while strapped to his seat, underwater.
Once all the motion stops, what are you going to do?
Sit back up.
Sit back up, and now you're going to use your reference points to find your handle. Go ahead and show me that.
And most cases, I'm not going to be able to see it.
Right.
I just feel for it.
You've made a mental map now.
This model fuselage can enter the tank at any given angle. Right now, we're planning on turning it upside down. Now, if I didn't have this kind of instruction, there's no doubt what would happen. I would probably panic. But I've been told to use points of reference in order to find my way out. If I'm several rows back, I should know how many rows it takes to get to the exit. If I'm in the exit row, I use my head in order to find the lever which will open the door. This gives me a fighting chance, if indeed my plane meets the water. On my first attempt, while the cabin turned upside down in the water, I made sure to focus, brace position, stay until the movement stops. Sit back, use my head as a reference point for the exit door handle. Right hand to pull myself through while using the left hand to unbuckle my seatbelt.
What could you have done differently?
I didn't get the door out of the way. I brought it inside instead of pushing it outside.
Should have gotten rid of it.
But I'm told this was a minor problem. I had survived. But soon I found out just how easy it is to lose focus or to focus too much on the wrong thing. On my second try, I'm concentrating on the water, trying to time my last breath of air. I'm distracted, lose sight of my reference points. I fail to sit back in the chair and therefore am reaching in the wrong area for the exit door. I try not to panic, but time is running out. One of the divers has to come to my rescue. One clear? That was awful. I completely lost my focus. And it was very close to just panicking.
I could watch you. Nope. Nope. Again, until the water rushed in. And at that last one, you were about to take your breath when that water rushed in. That disoriented you. You were worried about the fact that you didn't have enough time, and that's why you never sat back up in your seat and you never found the exit.
The third time, I stopped thinking of the water or timing my breath and concentrated on the training. Brace position, reference points, don't panic. Over time, I didn't even need to see. Our final dive was in the dark. Now, for those who can't take this training, you would think that at least the flight crew or the cabin crew of your commercial airliner has gone through it. Well, you'd be wrong. They do take training, but it's on dry land. There's no requirement for any pilot or any flight attendant to go through this. In fact, we understand the National Transportation Safety Board has suggested that this training be required of flight crews. They've suggested it to the FAA, but the FAA has yet to act. Conan Nolan, reporting live from Groton, Connecticut. Back to you.
You know, Conan, the points you make are absolutely terrific, but I was wondering on the time that you had difficulty getting out. Did you open your eyes under there, or were you just going by touch only?
No, I had my eyes open, but even in clear water, it's difficult to see. And they point out that when there's an actual accident, there's all sorts of items in the air. Remember, the baggage from the overhead bins come out, and there's fuel in the water. So they want to train you so that you don't need to see. You just stay in your seat, remain in your seat until it stops, and then use those directive points to find your way out. And I was about to panic there, but fortunately, I had somebody to help me out.
Wow.
Yeah.
Thanks, Conan.
Terrific. Thanks very much, Conan. Chances are that you have your own idea of the perfect dream home. Well, tomorrow here on the news at 6 o'clock, we're going to take you inside one of the best, the most spectacular mansion in the Southland, worth millions of dollars. You get your looky-loo tour. That's tomorrow at 6 o'clock here on the Channel 4 News.
Cannot wait for that. Looked like it was on the beach someplace. We'll find out tomorrow. Okay, what's going on? Something with the Clippers, Brad.
Yeah, Kelly, Chuck, let me be honest with you folks. The Clippers organization doesn't like us very much here at Channel 4. They think we take cheap shots at them. Why? Because for years they have been fooling people, not the players, they're a good group, not the coaches, they give it all they've got. But the organization as a whole has been trying to dupe money-paying fans into believing they're committed to winning, and the results speak for themselves. Today, they fired head coach Chris Ford. He should have been fired. The team has the second worst record in the NBA. They just lost back-to-back games by 77 points. But is that anything new? You know what? Don't be fooled. It's not about winning. It's about making money. And owner Donald Sterling, as a shrewd businessman, makes money with the team. The Clippers are one of the few teams that are well below the salary cap. They have money to pay for talent, but they won't. So what do you expect? Assistant coach Jim Todd replaces Chris Ford, and it won't be his fault when he eventually gets replaced. Until they are truly committed to winning, it doesn't matter who the coach is or who the players are. Yeah, they probably do. Also from the NBA, and a relief for the Lakers who can stop fielding his phone calls, Dennis Rodman signed today with the Dallas Mavericks, but he's not expected to be in uniform at Staples Saturday when the Mavs come to town to take on the Clippers. Rodman needs one more week off to get in shape, or perhaps to get all the immediate partying out of his system. He may go to Hawaii this weekend for the NFL Pro Bowl. Golf first run of the Pebble Beach Pro-Am up north, looking for his sixth straight tournament win. Tiger Woods at 1 shot off the lead, but right now he is 5 back. David Duval is the leader at 4 under, but he's only completed 10 holes on the day. That is because Duval, Woods, and everybody on the course just about blown off the Monterey Peninsula as rain and wind wreaked havoc on the first round for most of the afternoon. Play suspended until tomorrow, but already because of the weather forecast, officials are anticipating the tournament to finish on Monday. A guy who was masterminded making what's fake into the real thing wants everybody to get real about his new venture. The World Wrestling Federation announced today, under chairman and creator Vince McMahon, the WWF will form a new pro football league to begin play in February 2001. At a New York news conference today, McMahon announced plans for the XFL, the X standing for exhilarating and extreme.
Entertainment. I would hope that we could bring the excitement of what we do and the fan appreciation for what we do to this new league. But the XFL will be 100% sport.
Well, it'll be entertaining any way you look at it.
So basically, it'd be rugby with guys in leather jockstraps.
You know, that's one way to
Kelly.
look at it.
That, I mean, really. And
really.
gladiator boots, too.
I hadn't considered that, but obviously things are getting pretty hot out here.
Thank you very much. Okay, let's go to the news for a look ahead at Channel 4 News at 11. Hi, Paul.
Kelly, how you doing? Tonight at 11, people gathering tonight in Fort Hueneme. More on the emotional tributes tonight to the victims of Flight 261. Plus the latest details on the investigation. Complete live coverage tonight right here at 11 o'clock. Also, everyday babies are abandoned by their parents. Tonight, meet a Southland woman who's coming to the rescue of dozens of tiny victims. Those stories and more, all the news tonight at 11, right after an all-new ER. Coming at you at 10 o'clock. We'll be here right at 11 o'clock. We'll see you then. Chuck and Kelly, back to you.
All right. Thanks very much, Paul. Now, a team of very brave dentists had one of the wildest checkups ever. Their patient, a cougar, it's one of the star attractions at the Utah Zoo. Of course, the big cat was tranquilized before the dentist would go in there and clean the teeth. They even had to pull a few damaged ones out. The animal, of course, animals like humans, they need regular dental checkups to keep their mouth healthy. Of course, not too healthy.